Welcome to Marketing Monday. I'm Paula Williams,
I'm John Williams.
and we are ABCI, and ABCI's mission is
To help everybody out there in the aviation world sell more products and services.
absolutely. So, this week we're talking about 3 outdated marketing tools that you should still consider. And the reason we're talking about this is because last week we talked about how outdated the aviation industry seems to be compared to a lot of other industries in terms of marketing tools and
Right.
techniques and other kinds of things. So let's start with some of the comments that we got on last week's video. So the first one was from Taylor Greenwood. Now, Taylor is probably one of the youngest people that we've ever worked with. And which really gave us a lot of insight into the younger generations and the way that they think. And Taylor's actually a really fantastic photographer, located out of the Wisconsin area.
Aviation photography.
Yeah, who specializes in airplanes, and which are not easy. Interiors and exteriors, they require very, very different lighting and all kinds of composition and crazy things. And Taylor's a real stickler for details and really fantastic at making things look great. So we're really happy to hear from Taylor. And, he also mentions that there were a lot of things that we did that he didn't necessarily understand or agree with when we were working together marketing his company, right?
True.
And I think that's fair. We didn't do as good of a job explaining things as we should have, and we learned a lot from working with Taylor.
True.
But he's also saying, that a lot of things that the aviation industry seems to be having a slower transition than Calvin is thinking. Our video last week was in response to Calvin, who mentioned on our iTunes feed that we were outdated. So,
Nice
we had to
people are
respond to
outdated,
that.
right?
Exactly. So I think it's kind of ironic that he was responding on our iTunes feed that we're outdated, and we're probably the only aviation marketing firm that has an iTunes feed. So anyway, just a little irony there. But anyway, we're really happy to hear from Taylor, and I think I totally agree. The world does not need 27,000 Gary V's running around at the NBAA 2030 convention. There only needs to be one of them. But we think you're amazing too, Taylor. Thank you for the comment. Ken Meyer wanted to add that a conservative mindset is not necessarily a bad thing. He says they'd recommend Calvin compare the accident fatality rate in the aviation industry versus other means of transport.
Mm-hmm.
This is not an industry that really attracts people who are not into
Conservative
thinking and risk
Yeah.
management and other kinds of things.
and risk management means not taking the latest and greatest.
Right, letting some other people ride the bleeding edge, those kinds of things. And John Schval on YouTube, this is a comment that he left. I agree with Calvin insofar as what technology and techniques are used to market to decision makers in the aviation industry. That doesn't mean that all these outdated technologies no longer work. And he gave us some great studies from Pew. I think those are in general about news and media trends, which are really interesting and helpful as well. But, again, we have to kind of differentiate between aviation and the rest of the world, because that's what we specialize in. If we were general marketing folks, we would probably be using a lot more of the latest and greatest tools, right?
True.
And more often.
One would hope.
Yeah, exactly. All right. But I do recommend Flying Cloud, which is John's blog on Google Plus and Google Plus and elsewhere. And he really, really is a strong advocate for technology and aviation. And we're right there with you, idealistically, if not practically, right?
Precisely.
Okay. So we have to come back to our mission. Is our mission to modernize marketing in the aviation industry?
Not really. Even though you thought so once.
Right. When we first started in the aviation industry, that was, almost to our detriment. That was my focus. I really wanted to bring the aviation industry kicking and screaming into the digital age. And I'm quite certain that we lost some business because of that. Since then, I've become a little older and wiser, and we've had to make a choice. Do we want to modernize marketing in the aviation industry, or do we want to help aviation companies sell more stuff?
And that's an easy answer.
That's an easy answer. So if it ever comes to a conflict, and this is why it's really important to have your mission really clear in your head, if it ever comes to a conflict between modernizing marketing for the sake of modernizing marketing versus helping aviation companies sell more stuff, our bias is going to be
Help aviation as an industry sell more stuff.
absolutely. All right. So there are 3 tools I wanted to talk about today. And, of course, tools are usually about the media used to deliver, right, a marketing message. And more important than that, and we're going to be spending some time in future Marketing Mondays talking about the list and the offer, which are equally important to the presentation method or the tools that we use. But there are 3 tools that we wanted to talk about today that actually still work in the aviation industry, even though we may think that they are outdated. And those are printed and mailed newsletters, CDs, and postcards, right?
Yes.
Right. So let's start by kind of a philosophical comparison, right?
Philosophical.
Right.
Great.
Now, John has a thing in his toolbox that is, I guess, is not even all that new anymore, right?
No, it isn't. It's a number of years old.
A number of years old, exactly.
Still works though.
Right. True. So show us. This is a power driver, right?
Yes.
And
No.
you see these on infomercials and other kinds of
That's
things
right.
with different weird attachments and so on.
Yep.
So,
That thing works.
yeah, it works, and it puts screws in and takes screws out of things very, very fast, right?
It can.
It can. So why do you still have this in your toolbox? And this is just a plain old ordinary Phillips screwdriver, right?
Yes, it is. And it's because that, as nice as it is, won't work on everything.
It won't work on everything. So there are some things that does better than that?
Yes,
You're sure?
absolutely.
So you would get upset if I took all of your screwdrivers out of your toolbox and threw them away.
You would have a problem.
Okay, that's fair. So just because there is a new thing, that doesn't mean we throw away all of the old things. In fact, a lot of times we'll use the new things in conjunction with old things, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so the 3 things I wanted to talk about today are postcards. And this is actually a postcard that we got from Slack, the software company, right?
Yeah.
Now, Slack are kind of the new kids on the block. It's a very technology-oriented project management or workflow management software. If you're not familiar with it, you might want to have a look at their website. Very new, very modern, very technology-based. So why are they killing trees and printing on them and putting them in the U.S. mail?
That's quite simple. They work.
Exactly. I mean, you might as well be doing stone tablets here, right?
Well, that's a bit in
But-
the past.
Oh, I know. But still, the fact that a technology company is advertising its products by using postcards is kind of an interesting commentary. I've gotten postcards from Google Digital Services selling Google Digital Services or Google Digital Marketing Services via snail mail. So, this is not dead. And postcards are fantastic because they don't have to open them. You get the point really quickly. They're very visual. They usually take the same or less postage than a letter or, anything else. So there's lots of reasons to love postcards, right? Okay. So that's thing number 1. Thing number 2, what the heck is this? Does anybody know what this is? This is one of these
That's a moneymaker.
shiny round things that has data on it that nobody has a means of playing anymore, right? I mean, my computer doesn't have a CD player or DVD player.
And your computer's a few years old.
My computer's 5 years old.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And your computer, we had to actually buy a CD
Player.
reader and writer, because we use CDs on a regular basis. But why?
They work.
They work. Exactly. So even though nobody uses these things, and a marketing company that we do business with, this is one of the interesting things. In the aviation industry, we don't always have the sample sizes to do good studies.
And do split testing.
and
But these guys do. They had 180,000 plus list they were sending CDs to. And they thought somebody came up with this outstanding idea. If we don't send CDs, we can save, at 50
A
cents
ton of
times
money.
$180,000, monthly.
Yeah.
So
And
they
nobody uses these things. They actually did a survey and said, do you have a CD player? And people answered no. Right?
So they stopped sending them,
Right.
and they lost about 80 plus thousand people off their list, and they decided to start sending them. They're still trying to build the list back up.
Exactly. So, even whether people actually use these or not, or listen to them or play them, it does two things. Number one, it gets your mail opened, right? Because if there's something in there that's heavy and stiff and a physical object, it increases the perceived value of that package, right?
Yeah, but beyond that, I have no idea why it works.
Well, and there are some people that have actually
Not
told us that they...
180,000 people.
No, exactly. But there are some people who have told us that they've listened to the CD.
Yeah, I know.
So, if it's convenient for even 10% of the people that you're sending it to, it doesn't cost a whole lot of money. It's kind of a visual thing. It's easy to send. It doesn't increase the amount of postage you have to spend.
But it doesn't really matter. The fact is, it works.
Yeah, the fact is it gets your mail opened and it increases sales, right? Okay. Thing number 3. Printed newsletters. Once again, very, very arcane, because every single thing, this is one that we get from a marketing group that we belong to, every single piece of information that is in this printed newsletter is available online, right?
Yep.
But did I look it up online? No, I didn't. If I get an email saying, with the same titles as some of these articles and things like that, I may or may not click through to it. But when I get this in the mail, it becomes part of my workflow once a week, or once a month, actually, we get these. Once a month, I look forward to this, getting this in the mail, and sitting down with it and reading through it and writing notes to myself.
Now you know why I like the Wall Street Journal.
There you go.
See?
Yeah, we get the Wall Street Journal, we get the digital and the print version. Right. I read the digital, he reads the print, right?
Mm-hmm. The digital's nice on the days the mail doesn't get the journal to me.
Yeah, that's true, which does happen.
But in general, I can glance down a page at a time and see an article I may want to read and read it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if it's digital, I have to go searching down through every freaking page to find out where everything is. There's anything I really want to look at.
Exactly. So, if you send one of these to your customers or prospective customers, it says a number of things. Number one, we care about you enough to make sure that you see this. We value our material enough to kill trees and spend ink on it and postage and everything else. So we think this is important enough for you to read. And the third thing is it gives us a means to ask for referrals and also tell people what else we sell. So, it's a really good PR/marketing tool, right? Okay, so one thing that we are testing, because we have done a newsletter in the past and we run into the same problems that everybody else does with time and money, and that is we'd really rather spend the time and money on other things. So we're trying something to see if we can do just as well with a postcard newsletter. Since a lot of the material that we create nowadays is video and or audio, our podcast and or videos on YouTube and things like that. This postcard refers to those things and, hopefully lets people know what's out there, what's going on in our book club, what's up on our blog and on our other channels and things like that. And also delivers a special or a call to action and things like that to get people to buy more stuff. So we will let you know how that works, right?
Or not.
Or not, exactly. We like to try things ourselves before we ask our customers to use them. So there's a couple of products that we have that can help you with these kinds of things if you are thinking about trying them. One is content marketing, and that is one article per month that can be used in your printed newsletter and or press releases and other kinds of things to the aviation marketing publications or aviation publications that are not necessarily marketing, other kinds of things like that. So content marketing is number one, and postcards is number two. And basically what we do in this service is we find you a list, an offer, and a presentation. So we help you put all that together into a great postcard. that will get some results for you. So both of those products are nice ways to help you with some of these things if you'd like to try them. We'd love to hear in the comments what are your favorite marketing tools, outdated or otherwise, and what your opinions are on any of the things that we've talked about. And we'll, if you ask us a question that we use in a future podcast or future Marketing Monday, we will send you one of our books, which is Social Media Marketing for Aviation Professionals. So once again, that's our evangelizing side, trying to bring the aviation industry in the 21st into the 21st century, kicking, screaming, and otherwise whatever, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Thanks for joining us, and happy Monday.
We'll see you next time.